So today, we're looking at a collection of stories from just 1 week in Southern California. Now, at first glance, you might think they have absolutely nothing in common. But if you look a little closer, they actually weave together to tell one really powerful story. Think about it. A community health fair in Bakersfield, a nationwide crisis over student loan defaults, and a town hall in Los Angeles about federal immigration raids. I mean, what on earth could possibly connect these three things? Well, that's the big question we're going to dig into.
And to get to the answer, we're using a really interesting source, a snapshot of news from Southern California's Observer Group newspapers. This gives us a real window into the issues that people are dealing with on the ground right now.
And what that window shows us, well, it's this powerful recurring story. It's a story about some really deep systemic challenges for sure. But, and this is the important part, it's also about the incredible creative ways communities are fighting back.
All right, so first, let's talk about those headwinds. What are the big challenges these communities are actually up against?
Let's start with healthcare. This quote from Assemblymember Jasmeet Bains, who's also a doctor, just says it all. Kern County has had an official healthcare shortage for decades. We're talking about a crisis so bad that some doctors are seeing up to 100 patients a day. I mean, can you even imagine? Now, let's switch gears to education debt. This number right here is just jarring. It's not a small gap. The data shows Black graduates are 5 times more likely to default on their student loans. That's a staggering statistic that points to some much deeper economic issues. And this problem, it's not getting better, it's actually speeding up. Just let this sink in. A new student loan default every 9 seconds. That pace just completely blows the pre-pandemic rate out of the water, and it shows the crisis is getting worse and fast. So, you might be asking, why is it getting worse? Well, this timeline shows a series of policy decisions in 2025 that really put the squeeze on borrowers. First, the support staff was slashed. Then, the government started seizing tax refunds again. And to top it all off, interest started piling back on for millions. It was basically a perfect storm of financial pressure.
And, that pressure isn't just economic. In LA, federal immigration enforcement is creating a whole different challenge. This quote from Nana Gyamfi really explains it well. For both Black immigrants and Black U.S. citizens, the lines can get really blurry during enforcement actions. The risk isn't just for one group. It's a vulnerability felt across the entire Black community.
Okay, so those are the challenges, and they are significant, but that is not where this story ends, not even close. Now let's look at the response, because communities are organizing on the ground to build their own solutions.
Remember that decades-long healthcare shortage in Kern County? Well, people aren't just sitting around waiting for a top-down fix. Nope. Groups like the Bakersfield Lynx are stepping right into that gap, creating events like their annual Wellness Expo to bring resources directly to the people who need them.
And this isn't just some meet and greet, okay? I mean, look at the services they're offering, and all of it for free. You've got vital health screenings, fentanyl prevention, doula services, even Tai Chi. This right here is what real community care looks like in action. It's tangible, it's direct, and it's exactly what people need. And his quote from the chapter president, Christy Dugas Kramer, it just gets to the heart of the whole thing. This isn't just about filling a service gap, it's a mission. It's about ensuring the well-being of their entire community, especially when the system itself isn't delivering. Okay, now let's pivot back to the student loan crisis. The response here looks a little different, but it's just as organized. Instead of a local event, what we're seeing is a huge coalition of advocacy groups coming together to challenge federal policy head-on. And just look at the groups involved here. We're talking about major players, the NAACP, the American Federation of Teachers, the Debt Collective. This isn't some small protest. This is a unified front of civil rights, labor, and consumer advocates, all demanding change.
So why are they fighting so hard? Well, NAACP President Derek Johnson lays it out perfectly. He argues these policies aren't just numbers on a page. They actively make life harder for working families, and they hit Black borrowers the hardest by taking money directly from their paychecks.
Meanwhile, over in Los Angeles, the response to immigration policy was all about political organizing. A state senator didn't just issue a statement. No, she brought residents, advocates, and organizers all into the same room to talk about what's really happening and to build power together.
And honestly, what Senator Smallwood QS says here could be the motto for this entire story. It's this powerful call for unity and self-reliance. It's the recognition that if communities don't stand up and demand what they need for themselves, no one else is going to do it for them.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? When you put these different stories together, what emerges is a kind of blueprint. A blueprint for resilience that's powered by some really key institutions and ideas. And you can't talk about this blueprint without talking about a crucial institution, the black press itself. It's so important to remember that these newspapers, our source for all these stories, aren't just reporting the news. They are part of a tradition that goes back almost 200 years, one of advocating for their communities and telling the stories that would otherwise be ignored.
As Dr. Benjamin Chavis Jr. says, in a time with all these systemic challenges, that mission that started way back in 1827 isn't just history. It is more vital today than it has ever been. It's the connective tissue for all the community actions we've just been looking at.
And that brings us to the final takeaway, the answer to our first question. What connects the health fair, the loan advocacy, and the town hall? It's this powerful blueprint. When systems fail, communities organize. They share information, they connect with each other, and they build their own power from the ground up. And that really just leaves us with one final question to think about. We've seen what resilience looks like in Southern California. So what does it look like in your community?